In this video, I want to look at the Phillips curve. First thing we want to note is that it is associated with Keynesian economics, and it shows a short-run relationship between inflation and unemployment. So in the short run, if inflation is higher, unemployment will be lower, and the reverse is true. Let's look at the Keynesian framework, and of course we use AD, long-run aggregate supply, and short-run aggregate supply to show that. And if we start in the middle with AD 0, here we see equilibrium in the long run at potential GDP right here. Let's say there's a recession and we have a drop in AD, which pushes prices down. This should be prices on the vertical. If prices are lower, then we see that that's lower inflation. We also see that the level of GDP is falling, which means the unemployment rate is rising because more people are unemployed. And so that's the short-run relationship right there. The opposite is also true. Let's say we are back at AD 0, and this time, let's say there's something that boosts our economy. Let's say something happens, whatever that is. Let's say it's consumer confidence. Let's say consumers are really confident and they want to go out and spend a lot, and so this boosts our economy to the right. And so here, AD2 shifts all the way out to here. So our short-run equilibrium is over at this point. In this case, we're above our potential level of output, so we have a drop in unemployment because we're producing so much. However, what we see is that the prices are increased, so we have lower unemployment but higher levels of prices, so higher inflation. Okay, so what A.W. Phillips did was look at 60 years of data for England, and what he found was that the theory suggested by Keynes was actually true. What he saw here is that when inflation is high, unemployment is low, and you see here that is a downward sloping Phillips curve. However, when we look in the 70s, the relationship broke down. And there are two reasons why this relationship between inflation and unemployment might break down in the long run. And these are supply shocks, as well as people might come to expect the inflation, okay? So the inflation will be lowered if people don't expect it. But if people get wise and expect inflation, then we might not see this trade-off. And both of these have the same effect. They both shift the short-run aggregate supply to the left. And so what that means is, if you can imagine our initial graphs, so this relationship holds for the Phillips curve if we assume these. But what if the short-run aggregate supply actually shifts left? Then we might have a scenario where even though the AD has increased, imagine this short-run aggregate supply also shift like this way. And so what we have is we no longer have that effect on unemployment, but we still have the effect of inflation because inflation is higher, okay? But we don't have that increase in the output that we had before. And so the relationship breaks down in the long run because of this. So what that leads to when the relationship breaks down is what we call stagflation. So what is stagflation? Well, it's two words joined together. Stagnation when your output isn't increasing as you would want it, plus inflation when your prices are increasing more than you would like it. So we put them together and you have stagflation. And this was observed for sure during the oil crisis in the 1970s.